Hey everybody, welcome to Vegans Talking Shit. I'm Joey.
I'm John.
I'm Vanessa.
And today, well, we're doing the whole Zoom thing again because of extenuating circumstances, henceforth and whatnot. So, whatever. So, today's topic, we're going to try something a little bit different, how to go vegan. And who better to give you better instructions about how to go vegan than the three of us? So we've kind of exhausted the topic to one extent or another, such as my way of talking about how I went vegan, and each of us actually went over how we went vegan. But I think that this gives us an opportunity to explore the topic a little further, what works for some people, what we feel may work globally, and what is subjective as opposed to objective. So, John, do you have anything to say about the topic?
Yes, I do, Mr. Joey. Um, well, I think if I was eating meat and I wanted to go vegan, and tomorrow was like the first day that I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go vegan. What would I do? I would go cold turkey, but that's me. I kind of have an all or nothing personality. I would eliminate any triggers that I have that could lead me to eat meat or any type of animal products. I get everything out of the fridge, obviously, that has animal products or is meat. I would not go into situations for a while that um, where meat would be in front of me. So whether it be dinner with my friends or family, um, I would give myself like, I mean, that's really the only way that I've eliminated bad habits in my life is literally track your days, like, get a day without eating animal products in a week, and then 30 days, and then 60 days. And, once you put together a good streak, like 30 days or so, the habit starts to be eliminated,
Yeah.
the bad habit, and that's what I would do. It's kind of like an alcoholic. What do you do if you want to stop drinking? You don't go to bars, right? If you want to stop smoking cigarettes, don't buy cigarettes anymore,
Right.
right? It's kind of as easy as that. We were out to dinner with a bunch of vegans last night, and the topic was about sugar. Like, um, Stephanie, who doesn't eat sugar anymore, which is we're all like, oh my God, how'd you do it? How'd you do it? And she's like, oh, it's not that hard. I just don't do it. And I was kind of honing in on to what she was saying, and I think it's because she just doesn't buy it anymore, right? It's easier said than done, right? But like, if you don't buy meat, if you don't put yourself in those situations, and you start, you know, 1 day, 2 days, 10 days, 30 days, it starts to become a lot easier. So
And I
that's
think
how
that's
I would
a
do it.
And I think that's a big step, a big first step. Clear all the stuff out of your Bob.
Someone
Uh
wants to be part
Oh,
of
hey,
the
Bob.
podcast.
for
Bob
those of
eats meat
you,
still.
yeah, Bob has to be an omnivore. For those of you who are listening on the podcast as opposed to watching this Zoom meeting on YouTube, Vanessa just held up her John and Vanessa's adorable cat, Bob. Yeah, I think that that's a big thing, and it seems very logical, very easy. It seems easy, but to clear your fridge of all the things that you're trying to not eat. If you want to go vegan, you don't want to put, ground beef in your fridge unless it's impossible or beyond, obviously. That I think is a big step. I mean, at that point, the only way you're going to be able to eat the products that you're trying not to eat is if you go out and you give in. But if you're stuck at home, you can only eat what's in your fridge. Vanessa, what do
Right.
you
And then you go
think?
to the grocery store, you don't buy the meat. You go
Right.
to the restaurant with your friends, don't order the burger. And if you don't have the willpower yet to, if you can't go out to a restaurant and you think you're going to cave, just don't go to the restaurant for a while, right? And
Right.
get some, 30 days, 60 days, and then you'll start eliminating the habit of eating meat.
Vanessa?
Well, I think the first thing I would do right now, if I was going to go vegan again tomorrow, first I would search for a doctor get all my blood tests, everything, because I think many people has no idea that they are very deficient in many vitamins
Yeah.
before they go vegan. And once they go vegan, many people come out after a few weeks because they just remove the meat, don't really replace the right way, and then they start getting sick. Oh, I went vegan. The person probably was already deficient, and after just remove the meat, became even worse. Then start to replace just with carbohydrates like a pizza, pasta, all that stuff, and get sick, get weak,
Or
I feel
gain weight.
hungry all the time, or gain weight. Yeah. So I think the first thing I would go to a nutritionist and a doctor, get my blood test completely, and a nutritionist to really explain to you how you're going to change your diet. Because for a while, I was just searching like YouTube videos and all that stuff. Actually has a really good doctor in Brazil that I found his videos first. And he kind of like explained a lot about it, but I was putting the different, like a wrong amounts in my plate. So I was gaining weight. I was having like a little belly that I never really had before, stuff like that. Because I was eating too much. I was only putting my protein as like a beans.
Yeah.
I still using a lot of beans as a protein, but not beans is not the main protein source for me right now. I know doesn't exist something about people is missing protein, but if you want get in shape, if you want to build muscles, you need the protein.
Yeah.
And I feel more satisfied when I eat the protein because in the beginning I was hungry all the time because I was doing all the amounts in my plates wrong. So I was eating too much stuff that was not filling me, and I was hungry all the time. So I think the first two things that you need to do is go to a doctor, get your blood test, and go to a nutritionist and really understand how you're going to change your diet.
And I think that's interesting. I don't think we've even explored that. Like we've talked about our ways, how we went vegan, and we've offered our advice and suggestions, but we haven't really spoken about that, about speaking to a doctor first, because you do have to get your information, your blood levels, and
Yeah.
know exactly where you are as far as where you might be deficient in something, because I think a lot of people they approach veganism incorrectly. They don't do the research, they don't read up on it, and then they get sick because they did it incorrectly, and then they blame the veganism. They don't blame their lack of research. And I
Yes.
so you hear that a lot.
Yeah, they
I
don't know what to eat, right?
right,
I think a lot of people don't last because they don't do what Vanessa just said, and what you're
right.
saying too is they don't see a nutritionist or they don't do the research. So they're there for, they're vegan for a month or 2 months or even a year, but like we eat TVP, right? And Tempe, I didn't know what that was
Right.
before.
Tofu, even tofu, I think.
Yeah, we barely, I don't even know if I had tofu before we went vegan, maybe once. So you got to really dive deep before you if you go tomorrow and eliminate all meat, that's fine, but you better do research right away too and figure out
Yeah.
what you're going to replace it with because you can't just eat celery and cucumbers all
And
day.
not just a
Yeah.
doctor, because a doctor is not a nutritionist. Obviously a doctor can give you all the information you need as far as maintaining good health and all that. But as far as nutrition, you need someone who's specifically an expert on nutrition.
Yeah.
And that can, I mean, me honestly, and I think a lot of people will be just fine Googling, but they have to make sure that they're actually Googling the proper resources. I actually bought books, paper books.
Wow, do
Um,
those exist though?
yeah, it's a miracle. I go to
Oh.
Barnes and Noble every now and then. I'm still surprised.
Would you
But the
recommend going to ChatGPT to figure out your diet?
I would piss on Chat GPT. I do not do. Okay, I mean, I've used it a couple times for reasons I won't divulge here. However, uh, as a an everyday resource, no. I'm not a chat GPT guy, though I do see its value. I also see that it can be a curse. That being said, there was this book I bought. I forgot who wrote it, um, but the title of the book is Main Street Vegan. And that was kind of like my Bible, so to speak, when I got into veganism. I read it cover to cover. It was that. And I think the other book was called Skinny Bastard. There are two versions of the book. There's Skinny Bitch, which is for women, and Skinny Bastard, which is for men. It gets into the body chemistry of each of them. And it's a very like it's written in a very locker room type of way. I mean, it uses the F word and it'll say things like, stop being a pussy, stop eating meat, that sort of thing. And I don't know that kind of that kind of language spoke to me. So Skinny Bastard was a very, very good book as far as making it compelling for one thing, but also for being somewhat motivational. And Main Street Vegan was a book that I just found very helpful as far as giving you the information, like a real, in-depth book as far as all the information for everything about going vegan. I found it very helpful. And then,
Would
of
you
course, I'm
would
sorry,
you
go ahead.
change would you change anything from when you became vegan? Knowing what you know
One
now, would you
second.
and you oh geez, the cats are funny.
The cats are fighting. Oh, do we have
Yeah,
that on video?
we saw a couple of them running.
Oh
Oh my
boy.
God, sorry, Mimi. Bob
It's okay.
sometimes is a bad guy.
Bob was
I'm
the
sorry.
bully?
But yeah, Bob is always the bully.
I'm sorry.
Bob was the bully?
Oh
I thought Mimi
yeah.
was the bully.
No, it's
That was our
Bob.
first cat fight on our podcast.
Yeah,
Wow.
but they do quite a lot, and in 5 minutes you'll be sleeping together and licking each other. It's
Oh,
amazing. Yeah, it's
like
pretty interesting.
siblings.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
terrible.
cute. But John, to answer your question, would I do anything differently? Honestly, I don't think so. I mean, I've talked about it a number of times how I went vegan. I did lists and I did side by side comparisons and Excel spreadsheets, very analytical, nerdy type of stuff that are very me. That's what I did. And I don't think I would approach it differently. I mean, maybe I would just because back then, this was over 12 years ago, it was much harder to be vegan. We
Of
didn't have
course, yeah.
Impossible. We didn't have Beyond. We didn't have oat milk. There was almond milk, but there was no oat milk. Uh, Now there are all these different vegan cheeses, whereas back then I think all we had was Daya, whatever. So I think I would change it if I were to do it today, only because, there are so many different variables now that I didn't have before. There are so many options. So I think I would have approached it the same way. And I can't say that it would work for everybody because I am just by nature a very logical, analytical person. And my way worked for me.
The
Someone
only thing I
else,
would change is I would um find the vegan community quicker.
that's
That's the
true.
only,
You're right.
that's what I
I'm right.
wanted you to say because I knew you would agree with me there.
Yeah, I lack the creativity. I didn't go there. But you're right. That is the one thing I would change. I would have used the Meetup app much sooner because I didn't get on that app to look for a vegan community until like what? After being vegan for 10 years. So I jumped on
Yeah.
very late.
We
So
didn't
I
realize that there was this. We were just kind of doing it in our own little world. I mean, Vanessa might have a different opinion of it, but at least I was. I was just
right.
thought I was a vegan in our own little bubble, and until we started doing some research on Meetup and saw all these groups and events,
Yeah.
and they're in every city. So all you people listening, like it doesn't matter if you're L.A., Chicago, New York,
Rome,
especially
Sweden.
yeah, if you're in
Yeah.
Europe, I mean, you can find other vegans out there, and we've said it so many times on this podcast. That's why it's so hard to stay vegan is because 99% of the people around you are not.
Right.
But when you go to these events, 100% of the people are vegan or at least trying to be vegan.
Yeah. And I
right?
think that
So,
with
or vegan curious.
and another benefit is that you learn about restaurants that you didn't
Yep.
know about before. In fact, I had dinner tonight at Vegan Tierra. I was
I love a
introduced.
vegan tier.
Oh, it's wonderful. And I was introduced to that restaurant because I went and joined that vegan group where I met you guys. So it's just been a wonderful, wonderful thing. And once again, shout out to Amy for being the founder, and shout out to David for being the general, I guess you could say, as far as arranging a lot of the meetups. But yeah, Amy was the founder, and I think we're doing a 10-year anniversary of when she started the meetup in 10 years. Good for her. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Would you change anything, Vanessa?
No, I just think this when I mention about like I go to a doctor is because I don't know if a nutritionist here in US can order blood tests and other tests. In Brazil they can, but here I don't know. And I should do this sooner and every 2 years, like I'm doing lately. Because in the beginning, I gained weight, I got out of shape. After I started losing muscles, so because I was not doing correctly, so I was like losing weight, and I'm already slim. So I think it's important to know how exactly is going on. Everything is going on. And the best way you check like your blood, you check your composition, your mass composition. Um, that's why I do this different.
Yeah.
Really learn how make your plate can change many things because sometimes you're not feeling nothing right now, but in few years you are creating maybe a problem for you in the future when you start getting old and some stuff can come up because you don't do the right nutrition. But this is not only for vegans. In my opinion, this is for both because my doctor, she said that she received many people that are not vegan in a lot of worst lack of vitamins and other stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not just for being vegan. I think this would be something that I would do to really understand how to eat better. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter if the person is vegan or not. So that's I think. And in the beginning, of course, I was very alone in the whole vegan world. And also in that time when we decided to go vegan, I was very alone in many sense because I didn't basically have friends here in US. I have like three friends in total. So, and they were not vegan or very, or also interested in being vegan or vegetarian. And but they were very like supportive. They
Yeah.
were very nice. They were open to going in restaurants that has option for us, but we were not like very strict to go in vegan restaurants. And right now, the last time we were in Chicago for 30 days were awesome because we really could understand how good it is being a city that has so many vegan restaurants.
Yeah.
And the time we were there as a vegetarian was like 6 months. We really didn't enjoy that restaurants, and they were there. Most of them were there already.
Yeah.
So
We didn't even think about it. Like
we yeah
we didn't know about Happy Cow. We didn't know
yeah
these vegan meetups. Like it's great that we found this community because we've become foodies too.
Right.
yeah.
You know, it's just like as soon as I go to a new city, I'm like, that's what I'm most excited about probably is
Yeah.
finding
Food.
is all these new restaurants that I've never experienced before. I'm so excited for that every time. Doesn't matter if it's Nashville or Atlanta. We were just in, and we ate we ate at the same restaurant twice. It was really good. Um, yeah.
A couple of
So
weeks ago, I went to MegaCon, the comic book convention in Orlando, and one of the dinners we had there was Chicago style pizza. I mean, it's a chain, Pizzeria Uno.
Oh, the deep dish.
Yeah, that deep dish pizza is pretty yummy, and it's vegan. Oh, they have vegan
they have
options.
a Pizzeria Uno has a vegan option now.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
so good.
I did not know they had a vegan
Yeah, and
option.
it's not just, vegan cheese. It's vegan cheese, vegan meat. Yeah,
That's
Wow.
cool.
yeah, it was so good. I mean, my dad's from New York. I'm half Italian American, so The thinking would be New York pizza is second to none, but I have to tell you that deep dish Chicago pizza.
Was that the first time you had it?
No, I've had Pizzeria
You've had
Uno
it?
before. Now,
Is
I
it down here, Pizzeria Uno, or is it only
I
north?
don't know about South Florida. I mean, I know in
Huh.
Orlando, yes. That's
Yeah,
where we had it.
Chicago's interesting. I mean, you got Giordano's, you got Pizzeria Uno, you got Lou Malnati's, you got a couple other ones. There's like
Well, Illuminati's?
Lou Malnati's.
Oh, got it.
It's a
But
very
I don't
famous
I
one.
don't think they have vegan options.
Maybe they do now. I mean, if Uno does, Lumel's might have it. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm
Yeah.
excited for that. I'm gonna look into it.
Yeah, I have to look into whether there are any Pizzeria Unos in South Florida because man, that was so good.
I'm gonna
It
look
was
right
yummy.
now. Keep talking, guys.
So Vanessa, what you were saying as far as seeing a nutritionist, making sure that your levels are okay, I think this is a good time to bring up the importance of vitamin B12. Because while a lot of people just assume that a vegan diet means, because you get that question all the time, where do you get your protein?
Yeah.
But that's really that's not a thing. Getting protein isn't difficult. What's difficult is vitamin B12. And I remember you telling me that it's I think you mentioned it like in the second or third episode of the podcast that it comes from the dirt in the ground, not from the actual.
Yeah, it's a bacteria. Because a bacteria in the dirt. Yeah.
Right.
The animal is just like a just process that and became like a getting their meat. Like us, if we get the vitamin. So but the animals used to get from the soil, but right now they give like supplements to them too.
Yeah.
They don't get on the soil anymore because normally they are in cages.
Yeah.
So the food is like a supplement with B12.
Well, one of the best supplements for vitamin B12. Now you can get like a sublingual drops to get the B12 supplement. What I prefer is nutritional yeast. I use nutritional yeast practically every day. I sprinkle it on everything. It's almost like a Parmesan cheese substitute. I think it's really good. I consume a lot of it. I think I'm good with vitamin B12 because I consume so much of it. I think iron is also a little bit harder to get if you're vegan. Does that sound right or no?
Yeah, if you eat beans, no. Beans has
Okay.
a lot of iron. Like for example, John's iron, the um last test we got was high because
Okay.
I was giving some pills here and there for him. Uh, like iron,
Yeah.
not like every day, but was high. The doctor gave uh like a turmeric pill for put down. So, and he didn't take iron all the time. It's
Yeah.
like really once every 15 days, I remember, oh, take one. Right now, not anymore. That's why it's very important we do because can create problems. Even if you just take vitamins without necessity, you can create a problem. Like
Yeah.
iron, too much iron in our blood really rust your organs. People doesn't know, oh, just one more item, it's not
Yeah.
making anything bad. But no, can really rust your organs.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's important we make sure that at least every 2 years get your blood test, check if everything's good with you. You don't want to regret in the future.
Yeah. I'm not good about any of that.
You should.
I know John gives me a hard time because I haven't had my colonoscopy yet.
Oh my God, you
Yes,
didn't
get
got
that.
yet.
Yeah, you're late, Joey. You're like 5 years late. Come on.
I will. I
And
don't
you
know
have
why did I even
you
bring it
have
up.
a good insurance.
I do.
So
Yes.
you can't keep postpone this.
I know. I know. I have a
By the
week
way,
off in March.
there is a Pizzeria Uno in West Palm Beach.
That's a
Ooh.
trek, but you know what? We can get on the Bright Line for that one.
I was there twice this week. I drove two
Really?
hours. Yes,
You didn't take the Bright Line, you drove?
I drove. Well, I mean, I
Why?
go to Pompano all the time, so I'm kind of like halfway there,
Oh, okay.
Well, we
So
take our car in the dealership there
yeah.
to put a additive for the diesel fluid. Is
Okay.
for the diesel is diesel fluid. So you have to drive to leave the car there. That's
Okay.
why.
So wait, that's the only one in South Florida?
That's the
No,
only
there is
Jaguar dealership. Whatever.
n-
It's a long story.
No,
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 Maybe
no. I'm
I've
talking
been
there's
there
about
from the
there's
Pizzeria
a
start.
Uno.
Oh
there's
yeah. Well, I think so. Hold on, let me look again. The rest of them look like they're in
Like
Orlando.
Lakeland, Orlando.
No, there's
Yeah.
like three of them. There's Kissimmee, Orlando, and Winter Garden.
Okay. Oh, I used to live in Winter Garden when I went to Full Sail.
For all you
that's
people in New
cool.
York and LA, I'm sure you care about where in Florida the Pizzeria Unos are.
Yeah, well, this is getting a little too local. By the way, do you want me to tell you who I met at MegaCon?
Yes, please. Vanessa will
So
be so excited.
yeah.
I already listened about that. You missed the last meeting with us.
Oh,
Oh,
who'd you
okay.
meet?
I met well, first, you may not know her. You don't watch Doctor Who, right?
I know everyone, but um,
Sure.
no, I don't watch Doctor
Well,
Who.
Freema Agyeman, she was in
Oh, know
Doctor
her.
Who as Martha Jones. She was also in the TV show Sense8. I met Matt Smith, who you know from House of the Dragon.
Okay.
He's also the 11th Doctor in Doctor Who, but I had my picture taken with him and Alex Kingston, who played River Song in Doctor Who. And if you watch Doctor Who, you know the significance of having your picture taken with the 11th Doctor and River Song. And then let me see who else. Oh, my girlfriend suggested we get our picture taken with Jude Law.
Oh
Jude
my
So
Law was there?
God.
Jude Law was there. Yeah, because he's in
Oh
that
my
Star Wars show on Disney
God.
Plus,
You did you
Skeleton Crew.
Vanessa, are you kidding? Do you know who
You
Jude
know who
Law
Jude
is?
Law is?
I don't think she does. I think she's making fun of
Oh,
me.
she's oh
Of course I
Vanessa,
don't know.
you're such a card.
Of course I don't know, guys.
I
That
bet you
show
if
was
you
pretty bad, by the way, that Star
the
Wars
Star
show.
Wars show,
Oh yeah.
I haven't watched it yet. I mean, I know him from, everything else.
Yeah.
Fantastic Beasts, AI, remember that movie? But where he really blew me away was Road to Perdition. And it was kind of funny because he
Yeah.
was there mostly for the Star Wars show. But when my girlfriend and I got there, she was like, "Hey, I loved you in Gattaca." And he looked surprised.
Really?
Yeah. He was like, "Oh." And then I said, "Hey, I loved you in Road to Perdition." And so I think he was kind of amused that we were talking about movies he had done like a decade or
20
two
years
ago.
ago, yeah.
Yeah.
He's British, right?
Yes, sir, he is. It was very cool.
He was in
Uh,
the Talented Mr. Ripley too.
yes, with Matt Damon, correct.
Yes, yeah. He hasn't
Hmm.
really acted too much lately, though, I feel like.
Not really, but I think the Star Wars show is his new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
very
anyway,
cool.
getting back to because Vanessa only has so much. Oh, your meeting will end in 10 minutes. Okay,
We got
that's
10
not so
minutes. What
bad.
should we talk about?
Well, I talked about MegaCon. So, oh, and you know who I did see, but I did not meet. Um, Todd McFarlane. Do you know who
Okay.
that is, John?
Spawn?
Yeah, he's the comic book artist, and also, he's the man who created McFarlane Toys. But primarily, he's known for his artwork. Spawn. He did some Batman, but mostly Spider-Man.
Wasn't there like an 80s show there, I thought?
What? The Spawn?
No, no, at MegaCon. Wasn't there
Oh
like
yeah,
a
Molly Ringwald, Judd Nelson,
oh,
Ali Sheedy,
was it Ferris not Ferris Bueller's Breakfast
Breakfast
Club?
Club. Yeah.
Wow, did you hear them speak?
No, the only one I really got to hear speak was Todd McFarlane. It was a very busy 4 days.
I'm sure.
I mean, you'd be
Yeah.
surprised how with a convention this big, that it was just very hard to make the time to do everything we wanted to do, especially when you consider we wanted to get pictures taken with this person and that person.
Yeah, you got to plan everything. You guys
Yeah,
didn't want to see those guys from Breakfast Club?
sure, but I mean, all that stuff costs money. To get a picture with Anthony Michael
Ah,
Hall, for example, I think it was like $100.
oh, jeez.
And then to get a picture with like the entire group, it was a total of like $500. So yeah, I don't
I
have
prefer take a picture
unlimited.
of Bob and don't pay any
I
money
want to
for
go
it.
see Joey Carbstrong. That's the celebrity
Uh,
that I want to
Joe,
meet.
you know
He's
what?
I know
great.
that.
Since we're talking about Joey Carbstrong, want to, promote your favorite hockey player?
Oh yeah,
And Anthony Senior.
not even close.
What's
Wait, let me
his
try.
name?
Andres Antanasiou.
Closer,
Okay.
Well,
much
how it
closer.
is, Jonathan?
Andres Anthonisiou.
Andres Athanasiou.
Shout out to him. So
Andres
let me talk something
Athanasiou.
important before
Okay.
Yeah,
we
let's hear
finish,
Vanessa's
because
important topic.
the important topic is about the topic, not about comic
Oh,
books,
it's not
movies, or
about vegan
whatever.
hockey players?
Not about hockey players as well. So, other thing, guys, learn how marinate your tofu and your tempeh. Get good recipes. That's very, very important when you go vegan, because tofu can taste nothing. Tofu can be like, oh my God, that's like no taste at all. Like,
So many meat
I don't
eaters say, I
want.
hate tofu.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
learn how seasoning that. Seasoning, correct?
Seasoning. Yeah.
Marinate's
Seasoning there,
better. Marinate.
Yeah.
marinate. Learn well how to do that with your tofu, and you're going to love tofu for the rest of your life, because
Well, what do
I
you
love so
recommend?
much tofu.
What do you
Start.
recommend to marinate? Like for what do you recommend?
So I'm basic. Okay, I don't do too many different sauce, but I basically use like sesame oil, olive oil, salt, pepper, tamari. Because I don't use the soy sauce, so I use tamari. Soy sauce has gluten, and I avoid. That's kind of the stuff I use, but make sure like you leave your tofu a few hours on any kind of marinade you like, to let it get like the taste, or prepare like dishes like tikka masala, that go with curry, other very spicy, but not necessarily hot spicy, but spicy in a sauce that make the tofu get taste too. Because if you just kind are not used to tofu, and you put a little bit of olive oil and put in a pan and fried a little bit one side to the other, it's tasting nothing. Right now, I can eat a tofu like that, and I probably you enjoy. But before, in the beginning, you lost habit for life. If you
Yeah.
eat like a tofu with nothing, like, oh my God, I'm going to eat it, no taste forever. So that's the other thing I usually learn at the beginning. Learn how to season tofu and tempeh.
Learn how to cook, basically.
No, you don't need to really know how to cook. Just marinate.
Well, the
Learn how
same
to
thing can be
marinate.
said about meat, right? Like meat doesn't have a whole lot of flavor unless you season it.
You can put salt.
Yeah.
That's it. In Brazil, the barbecues is basically just with salt and the good and that
Yeah.
good. You don't have like to be so talented to just season meat. That's my opinion, personal opinion.
Yeah.
Okay.
John, do you have any cooking tips?
You know the answer to that.
About the same as
What?
me, right?
Why are you putting me on the spot, Joey?
I
No,
mean,
you are better. You're
my
better,
cooking
Joy.
tip is I buy frozen products, as whether it's, Beyond, Impossible. Daring makes some great chicken.
This is my cooking tip. When this ends in a couple of minutes, I'm going to put in the frozen pizza that I have in the
Which
freezer.
brand?
We got it from Plantisserie.
Plantisserie.
Oh, so it's not from a box. I mean, it's
No,
leftover.
they make their own pizza, and if you remember, they have the coolers on the
Do
side.
they have this? Is that the one with the star pizza?
No, that is
No.
Oh, that's Italy, right?
yeah.
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 Plantisserie is like it's like a deli almost.
Plantisserie.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it.
The
Plantisserie.
plantisserie.
And
Why?
this,
How does my
they
Brazilian
have
wife?
an
How is she able to
amazing,
pronounce it and I'm not?
because this is like a plantisserie. It's almost like a Brazilian word for that.
Okay.
By the way, John, congratulations. I saw that you're back on Duolingo after a couple of months.
Uh,
Lies.
I think I just logged in. I didn't do the lesson.
Lies. That's a lie. That is not the real.
No, I haven't been on.
So I've been on Duolingo, think, I don't know how many days, but it's well
A
over a
lot.
year. Yeah, maybe it's 600 days now. I don't know. But I haven't been doing Spanish. I've been doing math because when I'm really busy, I don't have time to
Math?
go to do, yeah, they actually have math.
Are you
Be,
kidding?
and I'm terrible at math, but if you do it from the very beginning, it's like, what's 2 + 2? 4.
You're terrible in math?
Oh, I know how to tip 20%. That's about it.
Oh, that you should not know exactly to do that. So, because you can tip even in a Starbucks. I know, Joy.
Well, yeah.
But oh
Why,
God,
why
I
don't you
never
do another
thought,
language? why is it useful
I
to
did.
be
I
better
tried.
at
Okay.
math
So
right now?
Spanish started to get really, really hard, and it would take me like 20 minutes to do one lesson. So then I'd moved on to Italian, because that's another language I'd like to learn. I'm half Cuban, half Italian. It's like, okay, I'd like to learn both languages. And then Italian started getting hard. So it's like, well, let me try math. So now I'm on math because it's more about getting it done and continuing my streak rather than actually
Oh, geez.
learning. I do
I
have
have
to
a
get back to
suggestion.
Spanish.
I
Yeah.
have a suggestion.
Yes.
Romanian, dummy.
Romanian? Why?
Oh no, I mean Bulgarian. Sorry.
Oh, Bulgarian. I should learn
Yes.
Bulgarian.
Yes.
That's true. That's true. Makes
Yes.
sense. John should learn Portuguese for 7 years,
I've
almost
tried.
8 years that we're
I've
together.
taken hundreds of lessons. It's hard. It's
Portuguese
hard.
does seem hard. I mean, when Vanessa has, said a couple of words and
Oh,
taught us a couple of words even in this podcast, my mouth doesn't work that way with some of those words.
it's just
Yeah,
practice,
it's
you
Yeah.
just
know. And you
practice.
got to be
Yeah.
dropped in like in Brazil or do what Howard's doing. Like our friend Howard, he has a class once a week and it's with people speaking English and people speaking Spanish and they you have
Howard's
to have
retired.
interactions. Well, you have to
Okay.
have interactions with people if you really want to learn the language.
I
I
don't
don't
have
think that,
any time. I work a
yeah.
full-time job. I have this podcast, and there's just too much.
I'm
And
not
I have that
telling you what to do.
must-watch
I'm
list.
just
Has a
suggesting.
dog. He
I have
has
the
a
dog.
girlfriend. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a lot. And I look at my list of shows that I need to watch, and it's like, when am I ever going to? I still haven't watched The Penguin. I need to watch
Oh,
The
oh,
Penguin.
you're not missing too much.
Yeah,
No,
it's not so good.
and when Black Mirror, the new season of Black
Oh
Mirror,
my
I'm gonna need to
God.
watch that.
Yes.
Doctor Who's gonna come back. I mean, it's too much. It's too much.
How
Well, I
much
got
time do we have,
tired.
Joey?
Less than a minute.
Well,
Okay,
everybody.
Wrap it up.
for vegans talking shit.
Yeah, you know what? I think this is about the right time. So let's do that. For vegans talking shit, I'm Joey,
I'm John.
I'm Vanessa.
and we'll see you on the other side of whatever. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
John, you didn't say bye.
Bye. I did twice.
We're
Ciao.
Can you
about to.
shake your hands, John? Like, bye.